If you were watching the Forex market on Friday and you trade gold, you would have been scratching your head for sure. What in the world is going on? It looks like gold is going to fly, and then all within the same US session, it looks like gold is going to crash. So I'm going to share with you 3 points that you might not know about that are the reasons that gold moves the way it does. And first of all, the reason that gold has been going up so much this year is because, one, central banks are buying gold like crazy. India, China, the US, Europe, they're buying gold, tons and tons and tons of gold. Why? Because they want to build up their gold reserves. Why? Well, because their currencies are becoming worthless. Unless you live in a cave, you know currencies are losing their value every single day. Every time you go to the store, prices have gone up. It's just the reality we live in. Currencies are becoming worthless. And so the governments want to build up their gold reserves as a diversification and protect against the continuing devaluation of currencies. So that pushes the price up, with central banks buying tons and tons of gold. The second reason is that gold has been going up is because of various geopolitical events, which everyone knows about: the Russia-Ukraine war, which has been going on for more than 2 years. And of course, more recently, the Palestine and Israeli situation. And even that was escalating last week with the situation in Iran and Syria and Lebanon. The entire Middle East is really on the brink of war. And then there are unknown geopolitical factors, which in trading, we call those black swan events. That could be anything from an earthquake to another war. It's an unexpected event, unknown factors that we see happen sometimes, and that pushes up the price of gold. Gold being a safe haven. When the world is falling apart and it's all gloom and doom, people want gold because it's a safe haven asset. Then the next reason is because of the U.S. Federal Reserve, and this is more recent. And you say, well, the Fed now is going to cut interest rates. Correct. We know that for sure. Next month, we are going to see them start cutting interest rates. Everybody is really, really sure. All analysts are betting on that. And in fact, most analysts are saying, why didn't you do it last month? So this is coming. And the reason gold has been going up all year is because it's been a case of buy the rumor. Since the beginning of the year, the market is thinking that the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates because they appeared to have inflation under control. Well, they never did cut interest rates. Here we are in August of 2024, and they still haven't cut interest rates. But the market sentiment is that they will every month. They are expecting the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. And so that has kept pushing up the price of gold because as the interest rates go up, that's typically bad for gold. But when interest rates go down, people don't want to hold on to US dollars, and they will rather have their money invested in gold. So it's been a case of all year long, really, buy the rumor. And that is one factor, just one factor, that has been pushing up the price of gold. And then so in that chart that I showed you, where we saw in one U.S. session, gold looked like it was going to fly. And what happens is when it gets to those higher prices, everybody says, okay, well, I've got a lot of profit in hand, and they start taking profit. That was nothing unusual. What was unusual was that it happened so quickly and all within the same session, because we have seen it before, as you see on this slide here, that after news, there is usually a knee-jerk reaction and a big move in the price, and then the next day the market calms down and it goes back to where it was after they took the profit from that increase in price. So those are my thoughts on the gold movement. Let me know what you think about gold and what has been pushing it up. or the reason for the recent drop that we saw. Whatever comments you have, let me know in the comment section below, because I'd love to hear from you. And now it's back to our regularly scheduled program, which is the weekly Forex analysis that I do every Sunday before the market opens on Monday, where we have a look at our go-to website, forexfactory.com, and I share the high impact news with you that's coming out this week. We look at the profit and loss from last week's trade setups, and then I share my swing trade setups, the pending orders that I have in place, and I share those with you in order to help you make profit with your Forex trading. And looking at the forexfactory.com website for our high impact news, thankfully we have only one page this week, and it's only a few items. Nothing on Sunday or the following Saturday, of course. And a little bit unusual, there's only 2 items on the US dollar, and that's on Monday and then again on Thursday. Most of the items are either on the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, or the Canadian dollar. So I haven't highlighted anything here. One particular item you might want to be aware of in particular is the Australian economy. On Tuesday, they will be releasing their information on their cash rate, their interest rate, the bank rate, the overnight rates, all the same thing, whether or not they are going to lower the interest rate. And changes in interest rate always have a big impact on that country's currency. So be watching for the Australian dollar release of the cash rate on Tuesday morning, Southeast Asia time. All right, just be sure and check back forexfactory.com for your local times. All right, let's have a look at the profit and loss from last week's trades. And always, as usual, before I do that, we have a look at the indexes. And here we are with the US dollar index, the DXY. And no surprise here, with news coming out on Friday from the non-farm payrolls and the Federal Reserve that they will very, very likely be cutting interest rates. That is not good for the US dollar. If the dollar is not generating interest, nobody wants to be holding the dollar. So the dollar is going to continue to decline. And then we look at the JPY, which is a different story completely. All right, finally, the JPY, the Japanese yen, has woken up. The Central Bank of Japan has stepped in, adjusted the interest rate, and now we see some strengthening of the Japanese yen, so obviously continuing to be bearish on the USD JPY. And then, of course, always I share my Bitcoin chart. What in the world is going on with Bitcoin? We were trading between 64 and 65,000, a little tight range there. Then it went up, came back down to that range, 64, 65,000, went up and touched 70,000. And probably everybody's thinking, well, here we go. Now the bull run is on. And in just 6 days, Bitcoin has dropped $10,000. And just yesterday, we reached 60,000. So what is going on? It's just typical Bitcoin. It goes up and it goes down. This is a strong support level, 60,000, so we'll likely see this week a change in direction and a move back up towards 64, 65,000, and maybe possibly back up to 70,000. If it can drop 10,000 in 6 days, it can move up 10,000 in 6 days. Only time will tell. So let's start off and look at gold, the first chart. This is the trade setup that I shared with you last week. If you remember, I had a sell limit. I was bearish on gold, and you're thinking probably now, why would I be bearish on gold? But that was last week. And that's because we were in this bearish trend line channel, and this is where I gave you that pending order. And it did exactly what I told you. It came up to 2,400. That's where the sell limit was, 2,400. That was the entry price. It came up and touched that, and then came down on Monday, first day, to 300 pip profit. Okay, and then that was it. That was all she wrote. Okay, and then it broke above the trend line channel on Tuesday, and then just continued up. With news that came out all during the week. Remember, we had 2 pages of high impact news, and then finally with the non-farm payrolls, looked like it was going to go to the moon. And then after the price got so high, everybody decided, well, let's just take some profit off the table. So it dropped $65 in just 1 hour, hour and a half, I believe it was, a couple of candles. This is the 4-hour chart you're looking at. And then before the market closed, it moved up another $30. So lots of fluctuation during the non-farm payrolls, which is always the case. When the non-farm payrolls comes out on the first Friday of every month, the most look forward to news that we have in the foreign exchange market. Then the Euro US, what happened with that one? Well, with the decline of the dollar, you're going to see the major pairs start to turn bullish. But last week we had a sell limit on that, and it did execute, and we got 92 pips out of that one before the news came out on Friday, and everything just turned around. Then the odd US continued to be bearish, and it executed on Monday, and then we got 90 pips out of that one, the Australian US. The New Zealand US was a sell limit. That one did not execute until Wednesday. All right, it came up and hit the pending order, and that trade is still open in my account. All right, it's only 60 pips in loss. So it depends on where you have your stop loss. You might have been stopped out with that one, but I still have that trade open. Then the pound US was a good one. Okay, it didn't hit the pending order, but as I've told you before, once you see the trend continuing, which it did on the second candle on Monday, all right, and then that one paid off with 179 pips on the pound US. And you'll remember the USD CAD was no trade. Why? Because we had that high that we reached back here around 1.38, and I said that is a high that we have reached 4 times in the last 2 years, a quadruple top. All right, and I did expect that it would go a little bit higher. It's still at 138. Okay, it's gone up 138 and change a little bit, but now it's gone sideways. So I do not expect this to break above 138. So that was a good move, just waiting to see what the USD CAD would do. Then the UJ. Oh, what a gold mine this was last week. This was the cash cow. All right, I had the sell limit. I put it very, very close to the closing price from the previous week, and that did execute immediately on Monday and went straight into profit, then went a little bit the wrong direction, but then started to pay off really well. And what you see here is my risk to reward ratio. I always put a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio. This is the stop loss. Okay, you see it never did get close to the stop loss, which is up here. All right, and then this is the profit area. So 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio, which means if you lose 3 trades out of 5, you can still end up with profit. But this shows you how you can take partial profit after you get into profit, close part of your trade, and let the rest continue to run. This was 1-to-2 was 380 pips profit, but if you let it continue to run, that would have been a total at the close of the U.S. session with 759 pips on 1 week move with the UJ. Amazing. The UJ is unbelievably bearish now. The Japanese yen is gaining strength. The US dollar is losing strength. So this is the reason we're seeing such a big move with the UJ. All right, now let's go over and have a look at the trades that I have in place for the upcoming week. All right, and gold, I have, of course, a buy limit on that. We've finished that bearish run, broken out of that trend line channel, which I told you about, and now we're on the move. And so I put a little bit of a range here where you can take your buy on gold, either at 24.24, which is the bottom zone here. This is a support level. It was resistance and has now become support. Or it might only retrace just a little bit on Monday morning back to 24.37. So that's an area where you can look to take a buy trade on gold, and then we should, I really expect that we'll hit 2,500 for a new all-time high next week. So bullish on the day chart, bullish on the 4-hour chart. Let's buy gold. The Euro US is no trade, okay? With such a huge move, wiping out the bearish move that has been made for the last 10 days, it wiped all of that out during the US session. So on the Euro US, it's neutral on the day chart, bullish on the 4-hour chart. It could be turning bullish on the day chart, but as you know, if you follow me, when I get conflicting signals, I would prefer to take option number 3, which is wait and see. And then on the odd US, I have no trade on that one because it is bearish on the day chart, bullish on the 4-hour chart. Again, conflicting signals, so better to wait and see. With the New Zealand US, no trade, bearish on the day chart, neutral on the 4-hour chart, conflicting signals. I would rather wait and see. I know I sound like a broken record. It's the same thing on the pound US, no trade, conflicting signals on the day and the 4-hour chart. You know, you see this here. This is Thursday. It's going down like that, and then Friday coming right back up. When you get these kind of moves, it's best to take option number 3. You can either buy, you can sell, or you can wait. And when we had so much high impact news last week with so much volatility, I would rather let the market calm down, and I'll just wait and see what the market sentiment overall is going to be. And then when my charts come into synchronization, then I'm more confident about taking a trade. One thing I do not do, if you follow me, you know this, I don't chase candles. It's best to wait and see. You don't have to trade every day. You don't have to trade all the currency pairs. You don't have to trade all the time. Sometimes it's good to just take a break. The USD CAD, no trade, as I've said already, because it's very near this quadruple top that we've been seeing over the last 2 years in the $1.38 price range. The UJ, yes, okay, let's sell the UJ. Sell limit, I've given you 2 prices here. One is the support level, which is now resistance, and that's at 148.487. Or it might only pull back just a little bit. And as I said last week, I don't want to miss out on this continuing bearish move of the UJ. So I have another entry point, which could be 147.409. That's the lower blue line there you see. But it could possibly pull back all the way to that second resistance level. So a sell limit on the UJ. Okay, that's a wrap for our weekly analysis for this week, the first full week of August 2024. I hope that these trade setups that I share with you will help you to make profit in your Forex trading. Just leave me a comment below this video if you're taking these trades, if you're making profit or making losses, or if you have any questions at all. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget, if you found this video by accident and you don't know anything about Forex and you might like to give it a try, I do have the free basic Forex trading course. It's a 10 video tutorial, absolutely free, no obligation. Just let me know that you're interested in that. Send me a telegram. My ID is @rickrayfx, and I will send you the link for that free course. Okay, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Click that little bell so you'll be notified every time I make one of these videos, which is every Sunday before the market opens on Monday. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Have a great week wherever you are in the world.